Folks, my name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. On the YouTube channel, we discuss the life of cardboard and what's happening. I want to give you guys a little market update of what I see going on in the overall financial situation, and we're going to touch on Magic and Pokemon are the two topics in today's conversation. So, first, as everybody knows, the world continues to be very volatile with the tariff conversation. People continue to be very jittery, frustrated, excited, nervous. There's all kinds of emotions running high. Therefore, Wall Street and the stock market is continuing to be very, very volatile. You can watch this video on the weekend. You can watch it on Monday. We could be up 1,000 points, down 1,000 points. It's really irrelevant on there. I stand by what I've been telling you guys in the last 2 weeks. Every time you see very large declines in the market, you need to be adding to positions. If you're pretty much anywhere that's not under, as long as you're under the age of 80, and you plan on literally accumulating shares and investing and building wealth long term, any 1,000+ point down day in a stock market measured by the SPY, S&P, you should be accumulating shares and adding to your positions. It doesn't matter if it's the bottom or the not. As we talked about on the other videos in this channel, the most important variable is not the bottom. The most important variable that we know is we are now buying not at the top. Trying to time the bottom is a Timmy game, and you just live your life, move on, accumulate it. So what does that mean for Magic and Pokemon? There's a lot of chatter in Pokemon right now that the Pokemon market has already topped. There's a lot of chatter that we are now seeing retracements and negativity, and all the Pokemon sets are going backwards. Now, let's look at the data. Journey Together, you are correct. Peaked at $260 a box plus tax, so $280 for Journey Together. It is now down to $215 plus tax, so about $230 shipped for most people. So yes, it is down about 20-25% from the all-time high. The market, simply put, the demand is not as great. The print run is not really different than Surging Sparks, but the biggest difference is the Journey Together demand is actually substantially lower than Surging Sparks. So we are seeing, as all these flippers run to your local Walmarts, your local Amazons and Costco's and BJ's, they're flipping the items, everything's getting thrown online, and we are continuing to see downward pressure on the ancillary products and single packs and stuff like that. So what's interesting about that, sorry, I'm kicking a bunch of garbage on the ground. So what's interesting is people are now making up things on the internet saying, look, the increased print runs are finally kicking in, Rudy. We're finally seeing slowdowns and prices dropping in Pokemon, and the market's finally softening. We peaked! Okay, Princess. Overall, no. What's happening is we have one particular set, the newest one, that the demand side of the equation is lower than Surging Sparks in the previous sets. Supply side feels about the same, if not maybe 10% skinnier, lower than Surging Sparks. Tough to tell on supply side because the piece of the pie is so thin, because everyone who has a gas station to a grocery store to a hardware store is requesting Pokemon and getting allocated a case of boxes, so it's making the pie really, really thin. Now, looking further into the data of Pokemon, I see absolutely zero evidence of the top of the market and the market collapsing and going backwards right now. Now, when I look at SVO 1, 2, 3, 4, the benchmark of the first half of the Scarlet Violet era that I've been telling you all is the area you want to really play in right now. I do not see any evidence of buyers saying I'm out, massive supply crashing the prices, SVO 1 base still at about 200, I guess, not including tax, so I can speak quicker. So before tax, SVO 1 seeing like 190s. SVO 2, Mr. P, 225, 230 plus tax. SVO 3, Obsidian, Charizard on the grill, same thing. All of these products are around the $200 price range, plus or minus literally $5 of either all-time high or sitting at all-time high. Anything less than 10%, I consider market noise. If the all-time high on Mr. P is 240, and right now you're seeing 232, that's market. That's just natural daily. Every couple hours you refresh, you're going to see slightly different variances. Again, no evidence on SVO 1, 2, 3, 4, even the Paradox, even the 5 and 6, with old Temporal and Twilight in your face when you go to the Eyes Wide Shut thing with all the creepy people. Still, no evidence of a crash. Sure, wait, is that one $10 off the all-time high? Like, the obsession in the microscopic zooming in, looking to try to find where your, is? It's like the obsession of zooming in on daily, weekly charts is mind-blowing right now. It tells me how stupid, how uneducated, how new, and how the people in this market have no idea what experience, longevity, understanding of how these markets work long term. I'm willing to bet right now that 50 to 75% of this market is brand new people in Pokemon less than 2 years. I'd be willing to bet the other 20% of this market are people who've never been through a crash or they jump in and out and disappear every few years. And I'd be willing to bet literally 5 to 9%. Honestly, maybe less than 5%. I'll even be more negative on it. I think less than 5% of Pokemon people are long-term people. That is my true opinion on the situation, because everybody says the same thing. Rudy, I'm buying this for a long-term hold. What are you doing there? That's a 20-year hold. Everything's a 20-year hold. All right, well, see you in 3 months at the casino when you're selling everything at a loss. That's the kind of the spread between what people say online versus what they really do. Let's go back to Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield, pretty flat last month or two. Again, which is fine. It's healthy, it's normal. That's how these markets work. It's like I said, it doesn't just kind of go straight line. It's more staircase. Let's sit. Bump. Overall, Sword and Shield, once again, I told you all. I'm going to re-emphasize because I haven't said it in about 45 days so far. Sword and Shield boxes should all be minimum $500 a box. The better Sword and Shield era booster box should be $1,000. Best in class, Evolving Skies type thing should be the $2,000 to $5,000 range. I've been saying that all along. And then, like I said, but most boxes that are decent in Sword and Shield, Chilling Reign, Brilliant, Silver Tempest, those are all $1,000 boxes. Even the bad ones, the Battle Styles, some of the weaker ones, you want to make fun of Darkness or Fat Pikachu Vivid, these are still $500 boxes. The good ones, though, when you start talking like Lost Origins, that thing can run to $1,500 to $2,000. Evolving Skies, I know, make fun of me, slap me in my left nut, don't give two shits. Evolving can easily be $3,000 to $5,000. It's like Magic the Gathering. Good segue time. Magic the Gathering, the collector box universe, Magic continues to absolutely boom. But Magic's only booming in new product, standard play boxes, and collector boxes, and new Commander stuff. So Commander deck sets, collector boxes of all new Magic from the last few years is where all the money's flowing. Rudy's vintage reserve list multi-million-dollar investments continue to do absolutely terrible. They're, since 2021, we're at, year 3 of garbage, negative, flat returns, whatever. So we've had absolutely no excitement to report in vintage. Even in older stuff, like I said, we now for a while, we had a lot of Bronze Age era Magic starting to get repriced and spike. And a lot of that's really held the price. I've been kind of quietly watching. I haven't made a follow-up yet. But the Bronze era Magic between like 2011 through 2019, the Eldritch Moon, Battle for Zendikar, Oath of the Gatewatch, Shadows over Innistrad, Kaladesh, Aether, and I was looking at a lot of these products and they've really gone up a lot. And just like Kaladesh, I was kind of waiting to see if everything was going to pull back, because Kaladesh spiked to 1,000, and it used to be 300. Kaladesh went to 1,000, then it retraced all the way back to like 450. So still higher than what it was by 20-30%, but it was not. I thought it would hold 500-600. I didn't think it would go from 300 to 1,000 and back to like the 4s. I thought it'd go from 300 to 1,000, maybe settle between like 500 and 600. But it told me the market wasn't able to hold that, which was quite interesting. So, but the other sets, the Eldritch Moons, and by the way, out of sight, out of mind, but a lot of people have been starting to comment recently, Rudy, it's been a little while since Wizards of the Coast had a master set or a reprint set. We've got our little Innistrad remastered kind of thing, but we haven't had a double masters, modern masters type of product. So that's been, there's been some underlying chatter on that for 2026 about this new secret master set that's coming next year. I don't have much evidence or information on that, but I definitely think it's worth bringing up that I think it's interesting that there's chatter on it, because out of sight, out of mind. Right now, the success of Tarkir Dragonstorm is far beyond everybody expected. And of course, after that, we have Final Fantasy, which everyone's going nuts for. And Rudy, you see Final Fantasy $600-700 collector boxes? Even at 600 plus tax, I mean, it's like $650 for a collector box. I will say the same thing I've told you guys all along. When it comes to these collector boxes, look what happened with Tarkir Dragonstorm, okay? Ran up to almost $400 a collector box. If you were lucky, there was like a 3-hour window on, what was it, Friday or Saturday? Like, I think release day Friday, like the afternoon, right when stores got all their crap and they told the employees to do the dumbest thing possible. There was like a 3-hour window where Tarkier collector boxes went from like $370 plus tax to like $300 and $310. Had like a 30% drop, and it lasted like 3 hours. Because again, some dumbass employee Timmy that's being pretty much paid in tacos, who doesn't give a shit, took some LGS's inventory, starts putting it online, then another store goes, oh God, I'm being undercut, let me get rid of mine. And of course, 6, 8, 9 hours later, and the next day, it goes right, as of the filming, it went from 300 and it's all the way back to 364 plus tax. So it's almost, it literally just, it just shows how, if you are in the right place at the right time, there is opportunity sometimes to really just get lucky. Now again, hopefully they honor those orders, of course. I mean, if you bought 6, 12, 20 boxes and you get $100 off a box, you're talking like, you know, $1,000, $2,000 discount, depending how many boxes you can buy. So it can be very substantial. And many times that's why people get upset, is that store owners step in and they say, what's going on? And the employee goes, I listed these, and you told me to undercut the cheapest person by a couple percent. And then what happens is you have this algorithm or algorithmic dumbass Timmy snowball, and you have this short-term dip. And that's why a lot of you all out there get angry, and then you post on social media and pound your keyboard and go outside and lick the concrete, and because they cancel your order. Because essentially what usually happens is the owner or upper management comes in and says, what the fuck are you doing? They cancel the orders, the employee does that and backpedals, and then customers and people on the internet get angry, so they go on social media, and that's their way of venting. It doesn't really change the situation, but it makes them feel better if they can vent on a platform with other strangers and say, yeah, let's woo! You know, everybody kind of empowers themselves. So that's usually what happens in those scenarios with the canceled orders, employees, and you had that. So if you, long story short, Friday, if you were in the right place at the right time, you probably got some Tarkier collector boxes way below market, and there was like, you know, maybe a 1 to 2 hour window if you're lucky. So what can we learn from that? Again, I will tell you all, because right now, I've sold all my Tarkier collectors. Patrons bought them all. That's it, okay? Don't ask me. I don't have any for sale. But let me be honest with you all. If you missed out, this is your time to buy it. Even at $360 from an LGS and TCG Player eBay, you should be buying it, okay? These are going to be $500 to $1,000 collector boxes. Can't buy them from me. Please support the other stores. But I'm warning you all in advance, based on the success, the power level, the cards in the set, textured fetch lands, serialized this and that, Dr. Gluten-Free Ugin over here. There's too much going on and too much value. It's already wiped out of distribution. It's already pushing 400 on TCG Player. This is essentially your cheapest time to buy it. Maybe right now, maybe it was yesterday, or maybe the next 7 days. Because what's out there is out there. You know, there's no restock, there's no reprint, blah, blah, blah. Every once in a while you'll get the idiots on the internet tell you, oh yeah, Command, I secretly collector boxes are being reprinted. Jesus Christ. Please be careful when you swim through the mud on the internet. There's a lot of dumb fucking people out there. So remember that, folks. If you missed out, go online, support an LGS. This is probably your one window. Based on the sell-through rate, what's going on, I give it about 30 to 90 days. If you're lucky, 90 days. If you're unlucky, maybe 7 to 30 days. But yeah, by the time Christmas rolls around, we have a couple releases. We get past the Final Fantasy where all the money's sucked into that vacuum. I think by Christmas, Tarkier Dragonstorm, I think between that 500 and 600 range. I think because the Final Fantasy is really going to distort the market short term. Depending what happens with a lot of LGSs, because pretty much every LGS is requesting the most amount of everything in Final Fantasy. So whatever they can get, they're going to take. So many LGSs, when they get those bills, are not going to be able to fund and pay distribution for these massive invoices for, you know, Final Fantasy. These are not $80 play boxes. These are not $150 collector boxes. These, you know, a normal collector box store cost is between $180 and $200 range. Actually, I don't even think it's $180 anymore. Is it $190 and $205? I think it's just under $200 for collector box now, just regular. Specialty collector like Lord of the Rings, Fallout stuff, these can be pushing towards $300 wholesale for collector box. So again, when people are getting all stupid and idiots complaining that the box is $500, I mean, you know, if it's, you know, yes, you in the back, please mention MSRP. Okay, so MSRP, if a store cost is almost $300, MSRP is probably going to be around that $550 to $600 range. which again, for those of you who are all about MSRP, because we're in a bull market, it makes you fucking feel better in your left nut. MSRP means that, well, in reality, any price of $600 or less for Final Fantasy collectors, you should probably be buying those. Again, be very careful in the pre-orders. What's most likely going to happen is Final Fantasy collectors are going to come out. They're going to swing from probably as low as 500, swing up to probably 700. Depending what day of the week and time of the day, you're going to see massive variance in pricing, which is going to make the average Timmy on the internet very volatile. It's going to make them very emotional. They're going to be, a lot of buyer's remorse, a lot of anger on canceled orders. Expect heavy price swings during the first, probably within the first 30 days. Release day plus 7, you're going to see all kinds of price swings. You're going to feel upset you overpaid. You're going to be angry that you underpaid and they canceled. It's going to be everywhere. All that matters is that as we swim through the Final Fantasy launch, in my opinion, by the end of the year, when the holidays and the Black Fridays and everyone's afraid of the end of the world because everything gets dumped online and all this special stuff where everybody wants special deals, the stores are only supposed to sell at a loss, all this dumb stuff. When we hit end of the year this year, I think Tarkir collectors, minimum 500. I think by then the Final Fantasy will stabilize, will be 6 months past release, and Final Fantasy should be pushing towards the upper end of that 700 to probably 900 range, and then going probably at least a year from now, after Final Fantasy's release, we should be able to be, I would be very surprised. And again, we don't know the set details, we don't know all the specs with the serialized cards, we don't know the specs of the showcase subset cards and variants. We have no idea what's coming. And if it's as crazy as everybody's thinking and the rumors are, yes, Final Fantasy collector boxes could easily be a Lord of the Rings kind of green box, which is around $1,000. No, I don't think Lord of the Rings Holiday is going to duplicate on Final Fantasy because everybody's expecting it. So just remember that. I don't think it's going to run to $2,000 a box. I think it'll take longer than you think to climb that high. That's my opinion. So overall, conclusion of the video, okay? First things first. Pokemon is not crashing. The market is simply rejecting Journey Together as not as good as a set. The prices have retraced 20% from the highs. Really not a big deal. If you never bought any Journey Together, or if you already bought, maybe you paid $260, $280 a booster box at the high on TCG Player, maybe you should buy some more right now between that $215 plus tax. So I guess between the $220s and $240s, maybe you should add to that if you want to lower your cost basis if you paid the $280 high price for booster boxes. Overall, I think it looks pretty stable. And more than anything, I think you guys need to be impressed that Journey Together is stable in the 220s. That's really the most important variable right now, because that tells you that the buyer supply and demand is pretty equalized. The equilibrium is pretty healthy, okay? So that's really what the most important thing to discuss is with Journey Together, okay? Previous sets, Surging Sparks, still no retracement. The reprint, thanks for the one case, right? The reprint of, it's then everyone else like, oh yeah, the big prismatic evolution's gonna dump. It's like, hold my breath there, big boy. When these little restocks, reprints happen, we could only be thankful for a massive reprint. I can build a huge position. The price will tank online. Everybody gets a chance. I just don't think that's going to happen. I would like it to, so I can actually have some and build a big position. I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm sorry. I think the Destined Rivals situation, I'll bring it up because if I don't, you guys are going to ask me. I think the Destined Rivals situation is going to be more volatile than you all think. Because everybody going into Journey Together, everybody expected this crazy, massive run-up like Surging Sparks. It didn't happen. So now you have a lot of people thinking, well, I'm going to wait with Destined Rivals because it's going to come out and tank just like Journey Together does. Because you can always use the previous release as a little bit of a benchmark of what people are going to feel as they approach the next thing. We as human beings, meat popsicles, Homo sapiens, reptilians, whatever we are wired to, as we approach a next set, we approach it with the behavior of the previous set. Hence, Magic, Tarkir, Dragonstorm. We were approached Dragonstorm with, Final Fantasy's coming, Aether Drift was weak, which, by the way, if you're not buying Aether Drift collector boxes for under $200 from idiots online, you shouldn't even be watching. I should ban you from this channel. Send me a message and saying I'm not watching and I'm not doing. I am going to literally send you to a channel that thinks all, game piece army and everything should be a quarter because you're stupid. So going into the Destined Rivals Pokemon situation, I expect very volatile prices because you're going to have a lot of people in stores that are going to be undercapitalized going into this Pokemon release with Final Fantasy. We got the Nikki girls with Weiss. You got a Flesh and Blood High Seas. You have everything happening at once. You're going to see massive volatility as stores raise capital, prices swing. You are going to see a lot more than average FOMOs and fears and FUDs and the emotions and the jitteriness is going to be real high. Okay, so in my opinion, I think Destined Rivals is kind of at the level of Journey. I think Destined Rivals at the level of Surging Sparks. I think it's better than Journey Together. That's my instinct, just because of the flavor and lore, and of course the Team Rocket, then some of the art I've seen leaked online, different things. It feels like a better set. It feels like people want that. They feel more, ooh, ah. I didn't see that as much with Journey Together. That's my opinion. People to this day still think Surging Sparks a bubble. And I said from day one, people love the cards and the Pikachu and the art, and people just love Surging Sparks way too much. Because of that, it's not a bubble and it's not going to go backwards. It's just, look, this is a great learning moment. I mean, look what happened with Journey Together. After release, the public just didn't like it as much. Therefore, we saw a 25% pullback. Like I tell you all, please leave the emotion out. Stop review bombing your local LGS. Stop attacking each YouTuber and PokeTuber and stop being a bunch of dumb fucks, okay? The reality is the market will tell us exactly what we need to know. I can't control it. You can't control it. Only your stepsister can control those kind of levers. She deserves that. And it's going to dictate the price. There's nothing I can do to make Journey Together go higher or lower. We can talk about it. I can say that. It is what it is. You can swing overnight, but the market will stabilize, okay? So that's my opinion on the Destined Together. I guess the Destined Rivals, we can say one more thing. As far as people are asking, what do I think about the allocations and print run? I think it's going to be exactly the same. I think the print run is going to be heavy, just like it was Journey Together. I think the print run is going to be just as big and healthy as Journey, just as big as healthy as Surging Sparks. Again, the problem is, instead of 2,000 stores requesting Destined Rivals, you have 4,000 businesses requesting it. 2,000 stores, 300 gas stations, 100 wallpaper stores, 55 cabinet stores, 75 gas stations, 25 blow-up doll stores, 16 Rudy Timmy basements, 27 adult stores that sell vibrating thing. That's the problem. So even though the print runs are healthy and large, it's just that pie. Everybody's eating this tiny little pizza slice because we have all these extra non-card people jumping in because they know the Pokemon name. They can Google on their phone or take a reverse image search on their phone and say, wow, I can get this booster box for $100 as a business and I can just sell it for $300. I don't have to do anything. I don't even know what this is, because you have a lot of that entering the market. That's because the market's very hot. Doesn't mean the market's at the top. Doesn't mean it's retracing. That is just human behavior. I told you all, we are all water. That's all we are. We're all water. And water is like money. It will flow downhill and take the path of least resistance. You can put rocks in the way. You can build fortresses. You can build walls. You can make dams. You can change directions. Water will always find the path of least resistance, and it will find a little opening, and it will wiggle around. That's what it does. You can try to interfere. You can get angry. You can attack. You can try to ban. You can do this and that. You can unban Rudy and try to reban his hair. The market's going to market, folks. 10 years on YouTube. God, I didn't say that all video. 10 years on YouTube. Rudy's been banned and unbanned I don't know how many damn times, and how many threads and posts and OnlyFans. This is just what's going on, everybody. So that is my overall state. So summary for everybody. You should be buying into the S&P 500 every time it drops more. Are we going to drop a lot more? I mean, I think the low last week was on the Dow was 37,000. And now I think I'm filming this on the weekend. So now it's back to 40,000 or 41. So it's almost a 10% swing just from the low. So we're pretty far off the lows. Now, do we continue to go a lot lower when more news hits, or Trump's hair does something crazy, or China this and that? I have no idea. I can't predict that. You shouldn't try to either, because you should be living your life and not be wound up in all that drama, because we can't do anything about it. What's going to happen is going to happen. As I tell everybody, it's in the cards. All right? Well, all we can do is, if you see a lot of down, things are cheap. You should be adding for long-term wealth accumulation. Same thing. Pokemon, extra cash flow, Magic. If you can get cheap play boxes from, if you're a Rudy patron, oh, shit, I didn't even say that. God, that's a long video. Yes, just got my Wave 2 Tarkir play boxes. So I got another 2,000 boxes. So I'm running another sale this weekend for you guys want your $600 case, $100 Tarkir boxes. You guys are, I think I'm, Jesus, what am I, 7,000 boxes? And I think I'm going to run out again. Oh, you guys are insane. Number 2, finally, I got over 1,000 more Foundation play. Just got reprinted. I'm going to get them back on the monthly list for you guys so you can get your $118 Foundation play boxes. I know they're like $130, $140 online. And I was told we're about 30, 45 days away until I get my Bloomborough play pallets. And then Bloomborough will be back to the $118 ship price for you guys. You can save a lot of money. So those are going to be coming up, and then I should be able to have them in stock for the next year. So you guys got plenty of time to buy that stuff. I got you guys covered. Calm down. No, I'm not raising the price. The Tarkir play, the Aether Drift play, Tarkir play, they're all $100 boxes. Right now, I just have the sealed cases, but starting, I think, next month, I'll be able to do smaller orders. You guys just want a couple boxes. So that is coming up. I also have one more sale. Okay. We'll get into all this stuff now, more of the boring crap, behind the scenes. So probably the next week or two, I'm going to have to run a couple extra sales because I just am not been able to get to this. Like I have one leftover pallet of Tarkir Commander decks, and I got you guys blowing me up asking for more Commander decks cheaper than TCG Player. So I'm going to run one more sale post on that. And today, actually, I'm running another Tarkir play box sale. So I got 2,000 boxes of that. Probably sold out by the time you watch this. Next week, I got some interesting things in the works. You guys might like this. So, like even Aether Drift, I was able to get a pallet of the Finish Line bundles, the really high-end ones, because I guess another store, someone invested in them, and they're unhappy with Aether Drift, so they're like, I took the whole pallet from them. So I actually have I'll have a nice little sale for the Finish Line bundles. A lot of you guys, that one blew out at release, and that's a great opportunity. Again, piece of Rudy financial advice from a dumbass basement guy with one test score with a lot of wrinkles. Let me give you guys honest advice. Specialty bundles, Phyrexia completed or completion bundles, stuff like that. Holiday gift bundle. These specialty bundles, this Aether Drift Finish Line special bundle, these things age so well. Just a nice piece of advice. That's all. Leave it there. Historical data, incredible future on these things. So I'm going to be running some extra sales to catch up. So like I said, I got a Commander deck sale because some of you guys missed out when I sold out. I got a Finish Line sale, and then I've got some older stuff like a Core 2014 palette I want to sell. I've got a palette of spell books that I got from another store. So I've got some of these other sales, and I got a Yu-Gi-Oh! Variety box sale of older Yu-Gi-Oh! Boxes that failed, some newer Yu-Gi-Oh! Boxes. I want to make a nice variety of like 3-4 different sets. So I've got a lot of sales I just haven't been able to get to because my Fridays and the slots are always full. So we're going to run a few extra to get caught back up, okay? So you guys are caught up. That's what's going on. And yes, obviously, yesterday or the day before was another Pokemon. We did a Lost Origins Elite Trainer box sale. And then we got another Pokemon sale coming up in another week or so. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching, as always. Appreciate you guys' kindness and everything. 10 years on YouTube, Rudy. This channel, again, is only sponsored by you guys watching and patrons saying hello to me. You guys buying stuff from me through Patreon sometimes. And pretty much just watching the videos. That's about it. And one last thing, I got to thank everybody. I got to just make a separate video. I got to thank everyone for all the massive amounts of new customers for Premier Card Grading. The employees are full-time. We're expanding the operation, and we have record volumes of cards being slabbed and graded. You guys have been super nice. You've been loving the high-end slabs. You've been loving the laser engraved labels, the little player slabs, the computer chip you can scan with your phone. You guys have been absolutely loving it, and I got to say thank you. We have a lot of fun with the little marketing short videos on YouTube. We just have a lot of playfulness, and we want to enjoy ourselves and just make it memorable. And it's really been a fun ride, and to see PCG expanding now and hitting record grading volumes is just a really cool thing, man. So many of you guys are being repeat customers and doing orders. I'm probably just going to make a video thanking everyone separately, but I just want to say thank you. That's all. It's been a really fun 2025, and like I said, it's going to be a great year. Please do not get obsessed with the drama and negativity of the world, the politics, the government stuff. I mean, you really got to take friends and family, enjoy your life sometimes. Do the things you enjoy, whether it's cards, video games, whatever you're into. It is a beautiful thing out there, and it's so easy to lose sight of that. And I promise I'll make some art videos too. You guys been asking me about paintings. I'll make some more videos, I promise. Have a great day.